Have your emotions kept you in a toxic relationship cycle time and time again? Does it feel like every time you want to say or do something to a man, you end up getting too attached and forget everything you plan to say or do? Well, on today's show, we'll discuss how to master your emotions so that men can't manipulate you anymore. And so you can finally be in the driver's seat and have the men chasing after you. Welcome to the Players Club. If you're paying attention to me and everyone else in the live stream, please say here present so I know you're here present and actively participating, even though we just did that, kinda, and even though you guys can't see me on TikTok. Okay, now you should be able to see me on TikTok. Are you guys good? Is the voice good now? Sorry about that. I had to redo the intro, redo everything for you guys. I hope everything is good now and there'll be no more technical difficulties after this. Okay, so let's hop right into it if we're all good. Perfect. I know you guys didn't get to see the intro for the second time on TikTok. So, okay, all right, let's go. So number one, we have objectivity. Okay, now very important. Like I said earlier, when I was going to start going on a rant before I realized that the voice thing was going on. I want us, all of you, beautiful people, if we're going to do this thing where we're mastering our emotions, we need to be very clear on what needs to happen in order to do that. Okay. So you are not going to not feel things. Okay. That's not what this is going to be. There's no way you're going to actually be able to turn off of your emotions or make them not happen or make yourself not feel them. What needs to happen is you need to have an understanding of what you're feeling, why you might be feeling that, and how you can strategize and plan ahead to feeling those things at those times, and how you can adjust and change your approach so that despite you feeling those feelings, or before they even rear their ugly head, you address them so they don't end up becoming an issue, okay? I'll explain in greater detail as we go on, but I want to start with that premise so we're all of the same understanding. Now, you're probably wondering, why you keep holding up this iPad? What's with the iPad? What's the iPad? Okay, this iPad is meant to represent a book or, a computer, whatever you want to do to write down something, get something down on paper. The reason I say that is because number one is objectivity. The only way you can be objective in your relationships with men, instead of just focusing straightly on what you feel in the moment in that second, the only way you can be objective is by having a source that you can refer back to, that you understand why you're here in the first place and what it is you're here for. Okay, very important that you understand that, because if you do not have a source book, a source notepad, a source paper, whatever it may be, if you do not have a source that you can refer back to, what's going to happen is throughout the course of your relationships with the guy, as you become more and more attached to him, as you become more and more invested in him, you're going to become more and more emotional about the situations, about the things he says about him. And because you're more emotional, you're more irrational, okay? And you're going to be less logical. And that only ends up hurting you because you won't have good judgment. You won't be able to stand on boundaries or stand on business, however you want to say it, right? And people, specifically men, won't be able to take you seriously or value you properly when you're in a state where you let everything go. You let him walk all over you. You don't make him work for anything, right? And all these things that come along when you're only thinking emotionally about how to cure your own anxiety or ease your own pain at that very moment, or make yourself feel good at that very moment, without a further outlook on how these decisions will affect the future of your relationship, or the way that person, or specifically in this case, that man, views you, what his perspective of you is. Okay. So very important. In order for you to stay objective, I need all of you who are serious about dating and serious about going out into this dating world, like for real, that aren't just wanting to listen to my voice because it sounds good, that you're actually serious about getting a good relationship, you need to write down, whether it be on your iPad, if you're an iPad kid, in your notebook, if you like writing, or on your computer, if you like typing on a computer, write down everything you want in a man. Everything. Okay? Make it personal to you because you want that thing. And I'm not just talking about, I want him to be 6'3". I want him to be blonde hair, blue eyes. I want him to, no, I'm not just talking about stuff like that. What I'm talking about also, you can put that stuff, but I also want you to have a real focus on the emotional aspect of what you want from the guy that you're going to be in a relationship with, and what you want your future to look like in terms of the entire relationship, like the relationship dynamic, the way he treats you, how he speaks to you, what your days look like. You could even have his job, his career path, right? Things that are more intrinsic in value as opposed to external. You understand what I'm saying? Because those are the things that are really going to make the relationship last. Yeah, it's great for him to be 6'3", but there's a lot of 6'3" guys. You understand? Now, I also, in the process of you describing your man in your notebook, the guy that you are going to end up with, not just because you have it in your life, you just have to find it. You have, it's already existing. In the process of you writing this down, I want you to be so detailed that it's painful. Listen to me. I want you to be so detailed that it becomes painful. I want you to write down every single quality and detail about this man and about this relationship that you can possibly think of, from the smallest possible insignificant detail to the largest possible detail. Okay, I want you to write down the thread count of your couch in the living room of your dream house that you're going to live in with your dream man. I want you to write down the location of the house that you're going to be living in and the square footage. Okay. I want you to write down if your basement is finished or unfinished. I want you to put down every single detail that you want to exist in this relationship that you possibly can. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, what does these irrelevant details like the thread count of my couch and, how many clothes are going to be in my closet, how many Louis Vuitton shoes are going to be in my shoe closet? Why does that matter in terms of having a good relationship or even getting guys to chase me? How does that affect anything that I'm doing here? The reason I want you to be in such deep detail with how you describe the relationship that you are going to see in the future and the man that you are planning to spend the rest of your life with, I want you to be very detailed, because when you go back to this source book, this source notepad, the more detail you have, the easier it will be to identify if you're not on that path. Especially when you're dealing with a whole bunch of different guys from a whole bunch of different walks of life. Some of these guys you're going to like a lot. Some of these guys you're going to be really interested in. Some of these guys you're going to be really invested in. And as you become more and more invested in these guys, it's going to become increasingly hard to remember everything that you said you wanted in a relationship. What's going to happen over time as you become more invested and attached to the guy that you're with is your emotions are going to start taking over, and you're going to start just seeing whatever you wanted in a man as whatever he is. However you wanted a guy to treat you is however he treats you. And instead of being attached, because remember, we talked about attachment a couple of shows ago and why it's so important to detach yourself from the idea that it has to be that one particular person. But as time goes on, you become more and more attached to, instead of being attached to the outcome, the outcome in terms of the person that you want to end up with, the type of relationship you want to have, you become more attached to the person. And the outcome that you're attached to is being with that person. And so naturally, your emotions will force you to formulate a vision of your future around the person you're with currently, instead of formulating your vision of the future around what you really want and are looking for. Which is why you end up finding yourself in a relationship that you're not really happy with, or finding yourself in a relationship with a partner, in this specific case with a man, that you never really envisioned for yourself. And then you're wondering why, how did I get to this point where I'm allowing this amount of disrespect, where I'm allowing a relationship to go like this, when I never imagined I would be this girl in this type of relationship? You get there by being so overly emotional. Not that emotions are bad, but allowing your emotions to control you to the point where you stop being able to be objective about what you're really here for in the first place. And so the key to mastering that in a more holistic sense is by having a source code. We'll call it the source code, because the source code is what you can go back on, look at, reread, and remember exactly what it is that you're looking for. So, for example, let me open up my iPad because I have my example on here, okay? So, for example, and see, obviously, as I'm talking about this with you, it sounds pretty obvious and pretty straightforward. When you're invested in the guy and you're in love with the guy, it's very beneficial and helpful to you to be able to have this source code. So, for example, let's say in the process of you writing down all the things that you want in a man, in a relationship, something that's really, really super deeply important to you, maybe because of your experiences in life or where you've been, you say, I really, really need a man who's financially responsible. Like, I need a man that knows how to budget and schedule money, and that he knows how to take care of money, that he knows how to plan for the future, plan for our kids, plan for, different emergencies and things like that, that knows how to take care of business financially. I can't have a man who's financially irresponsible. Let's say that just in the process of you writing down everything you need, that is something that is super duper hyper important to you. Okay, good. That's good that you can identify that. That becomes your source code. Now, let's say you find yourself in a talking stage or a relationship with a guy who's a drug dealer. And yes, this drug dealer, let's say he's a well-off drug dealer. He drives a nice Range Rover. He's got a nice little apartment. He spends a lot of money on you. He takes you to get your nails done and your feet done. He's making some bank as a drug dealer. But he also, in the process of spending money on you, he goes to the club and he'll spend $10K on bottles with his other drug dealer friends. You know what I mean? They'll go to the strip club and blow another $5K. Just at the strip club doing whatever. He'll go to the casino, blow another $15K. You know what I mean? Just cash spending everywhere. Cash burning everywhere. He's got a lot of money, but he spends a lot of money and he's pretty irresponsible with his money. And there's no plan for the future. Now, when you have this source code, you can say to yourself, yeah, it feels really good to have a guy spending money on me. Yeah, it feels really good that he'll take me out to dinner and he'll pay for the seafood tower that I want, and he'll take me to Nobu and I get to flex and put on my nice dresses and he buys me a bunch of stuff and spends all this money on me. That's great. But in reality, when I look at my source code, that's not what I'm looking for. Okay, I'm looking for someone who is financially responsible. So it's good. It makes me feel good that he spends a lot of money on me. It makes me feel good that we'll go on all these fancy dates and all these fancy dinners. It makes me feel good to go out to the club with him and money's not an issue. But at the end of the day, the way he chooses to live his life financially is not sustainable or in line with what I know I'm looking for in a long-term serious partner. And so it makes the decision to say to yourself, despite what I feel in the moment, my objectivity will tell me that this isn't a relationship for me. It makes it a lot easier to walk away from that person a lot quicker, right? Before you begin getting too emotionally attached and investing too much of your time and energy into the person, because you can already easily identify that this isn't in line with what I'm seeking. Does that make sense to you guys so far? Okay, that's why it becomes hyper important that you're able to have something to refer back to. That you don't have to think to yourself, well, I can't remember, what was it that I said that I wanted? Did I want a guy who was financially responsible? But it doesn't really matter if he's that financially, because he's got money and he spends the money, right? Because as soon as you don't write it down, as soon as you don't have the source code, as soon as you don't have something to refer to, you'll immediately start justifying and changing and adjusting what you want based on what that person is giving you at that moment. And in each and every relationship that you're in, it will always be adjusted to just perfectly fit exactly what that person is at the time. But the problem is, like I said before, now you become attached to being with that person instead of being attached to being in that situation with whoever it is that will satisfy that understanding of where you want to be. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. So number one was objectivity. Very important in order to master your emotions. That way the men can actually, right? Because the thing about it is too, I also want to refer back to why it's important and why the guys will actually value you because of that. When you're able to do that and be more objective, you're going to have a lot more clarity in your relationships and in your talking stages and in your situationships in the process of you dating. When you have that much more clarity, you're going to be willing to deal with a lot less, because anything that's not in line with what you're there for, you won't have time for or time to be invested in. That clarity that you carry around with you in every dating stage, in every talking stage, the men will also receive that from you, that you're not here to mess around. It's either you act according to what your expectations and standards are, or you're gone. The men that come around you will realize they need to respect you. They need to approach you the right way. They need to stand up straight when they're around you. And we've talked about in past shows that respect is so vitally important to his ability to even fall in love with you or want you in the first place. Okay? Because guys spend time with girls that they don't respect, but they also take advantage of those girls at those times. The woman that he ends up wifing or chasing after is going to be a woman that he has respect for. And so when you have this clarity, when you have this understanding of what you're there for, you find it very difficult to compromise on your standards and expectations, which means the men also realize they can't mess around if they want access to you. And that's good. You don't want men thinking that they can mess around in order to have access to you. That's when you become, a fun girl. Okay. And you don't want to be a fun girl. So objectivity is so important. Number two, let's discuss listening. This one, I wanted us to really stay on for a bit because this is going to be a little bit more difficult for those of you who love to yap. I know some of you love to yap. Tell me in the chat if you love yapping when you go out on dates, if you love talking about yourself and yapping about your day and your friendships and everything that's going on with you. Okay. I know some of us love to yap. I wouldn't even say that I love to yap. I know some people do though. I'm not a yapper personally. I just yap to you guys on this. Okay. So you need to understand. You need to practice the art of listening. And not just practice the art of listening, as we're referring to mastering your emotions, practicing the art of listening with verbal and nonverbal cues will literally change your life. And it will change the way men receive you. I've talked about this before in other shows, but it's very important also in this as well. Listening is not just sitting and nodding your head. It's not just saying yes. Because a lot of times when you're listening literally waiting for the space that it's your turn to share. Or waiting for the time that you can get to trauma dump. Or waiting for the time that it can be your turn. You're not actually listening to that person. You're also not projecting out energy that you're actually listening to that person. I don't know if you know this, but people can actually sense when you're shivering while they're talking, waiting for your turn to speak. They can actually sense when they're telling you something or telling a story about themselves and you're like in la la land just waiting for your turn to share instead of actually absorbing what they're saying. Okay? People can actually receive. They might not necessarily be able to put their finger on it, but they know it's there. They can feel it. And I'm sure when I'm describing it to you now, you have experienced that before as well. Let me know if you've ever experienced that before. When you're telling someone a story or you're talking about yourself and you can see they're literally just waiting for their turn to talk about themselves. They're not really interested in anything that you're saying. They're just like, okay, are you done yet? Because when you're done, I'm going to start yapping about myself. Are you finished yet? I just like, this is like really like, can you, is that the last word? Oh, I want to say mine now. Well, it's my turn now. Right. And the reason I want to make that clear to you and why this is so important in terms of mastering your emotions, because the better you can listen, the less emotional you will be overall. Because the more you're listening, right, the more someone else is becoming invested in you. Because as people share with you about themselves, talk about their life, talk about their experiences, they become increasingly emotionally invested in you. And that's like the MO here. This is what we do here. In other people's shows and in other people's worlds, they talk about financial investment, which is perfectly fine. I'm not here to say anything's right or wrong. On our show here, in our club, we talk about emotional investment because that is the best way to get someone invested in you, to get someone attached to you, where they act the right way, where they treat you the right way, when they speak to you the right way, when you can get what you want out of the person, when they're emotionally invested in you. And so the process of you listening actually serves two things at once, because it allows them to be more emotionally invested in you, but it also helps you stay grounded and focused on what you're there for, which in your case, as the woman, you're there to observe, listen, and receive. That's the three-headed monster. You're here to observe, I'll say it again, listen and receive. And so the better you become at listening inherently, the better you become at mastering your emotions. Because when you're yapping about yourself, you're also investing yourself emotionally in that person. When you trauma dump, you're investing emotionally. When you talk about yourself and your life and your experiences, and you share all these deep, dark secrets and all your wants and desires and needs and all that good stuff, you're emotionally investing yourself in the person. And so when they walk away, you feel like part of your investment is walking away. Okay, not in that financial sense, in an emotional sense, because you've given so much of yourself to that individual that if they're just going to leave your life easy peasy lemon squeezy, they're walking away with part of you with them. And that can be very painful. And so in turn, when you're listening, instead of yapping, instead of sharing, you're actually helping yourself stay focused and continue to be objective on what you're here for, which is to decipher, are you the person I'm seeking that's in my source code, or are you not? Okay. And when you start thinking of things like that, the process becomes a lot more easier, and you kind of start having light bulbs when you're dating people. You say, oh, it's actually not that hard to date people. I just have to know what I want. And then the process of me learning and understanding you is just me understanding if you are what I want or if you're not what I want. And then the process actually kind of becomes pretty simple and pretty easy. Because you don't have to spend time thinking, oh, am I saying the right thing? Am I talking in a way that he likes me? Am I making myself likable? Am I making myself look cool or interesting or any of that? You just start thinking to yourself, I'm confident in myself. I know what I bring to the table. I'm not going to give my time or investment into anyone random that's not going to treat that time and investment with respect. So now it's your job as the man to show me if you're worthy of my time and investment. And if you really want me, you're going to be consistent with me over this course of time, and you're going to show me that this investment is something you really are serious about. And you're going to be listening, right? Listening to not just his words, but also observing his actions in the process of learning and understanding him to gain knowledge on if this is the person that you've been seeking in your source code. Does that make sense to you guys so far? Right? And so in order to practice listening better and being a better listener so that you can master your emotions, so that you can be focused on what you're there for, you need to be aware of, like I said, you need to practice your verbal language, meaning your ability to ask good questions and seem interested. But even more importantly than that, you need to practice your nonverbal cues in terms of listening. Okay? This is extremely important. If you can master these nonverbal cues, you'll become very good at getting people to yap, 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 yap about themselves and go into grave detail about everything they think, they feel, their perspective, everything in their mind towards you, while you sit and you're able to be objective about the information you're receiving. Why? Because you're not necessarily emotionally invested in this man. You're emotionally invested in being with the person that's in your source code, but that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be you. I just need to listen and understand you to decipher if it is you. But your nonverbal cues will help you be a better listener, because as you become better at understanding how to work on your nonverbal cues and your body language, you'll become better at getting people to talk to you and share more with you. Let me know in the chat if you feel like you struggle to get guys to share with you and tell you about their feelings or their thoughts. Okay? Right? Because it is something you can work on and practice. It's not the men that don't want to share. I don't want to burst your bubble or make you feel bad about yourselves, but it's not the men that is the reason they're not sharing. I can assure you, if you have the right technique and the right approach, you can get any man to talk about himself and his experiences and his past as much as possible. It is possible, but you just have to have the right technique, and you need to be doing the right things in order to get that desired result. You understand what I'm saying? Right? And so, very important. Let me give you guys an example here. So, on a date, let's say you're going on a first date with a guy, and you're trying to better understand, about him and his past and see, is he still connected with his ex? I don't want to be with the guy who's not emotionally available right now. So I need to get a sense of who his ex is, how long they dated, what the status of the relationship is. So you start asking questions, right? In the process of him telling you about his past relationship, you need to be aware of how you're presenting yourself, okay? So even if that means you need to start practicing in the mirror, what does your smile look like when it looks really genuine, right? What does it look like or feel like, right? So think to yourself, what does it feel like when I'm actually interested, and how you can recreate that feeling in terms of your body language when someone's speaking to you and you want them to be receiving that you're very interested and intrigued, okay? As you begin to practice that, you'll become better and more self-aware that when you're on a date with someone, you want to seem interested in what they're saying so that he will share more and more with you. Okay. So, for example, if you're trying to get this guy to talk more and more about his ex, you're not going to be like this. I mean, so, yeah. You did part with your ex? That's not what you're going to do, okay? Because that's going to portray that you're either not interested in what he's saying, or even when he does say something that might be a little bit interesting, you're judging him, which is another thing you don't want. You don't want them to feel judged by you, because that's going to make them shut down as well, right? Or that you're judging them, that you don't like something that they said, or you don't like the way they went about this situation, or you don't like what they just told you. That's also going to communicate to them, to the guy, that they should stop sharing with you. They should stop yapping. That only works against you and works to your detriment. Okay? You want to practice what it's like to have good body language. You want to master that. Okay, rather than just going based on whatever you're thinking at the moment, whatever you're feeling at the moment, outwardly projecting so freely that anyone can take that and receive that. However, you always have to be hyper aware of what your goal is, that regardless of what you're thinking in your mind, you project out what you actually want to project out. and what you actually want other people to receive, that you can get back what you need in that moment. Because the emotional you will sit back and just project out energy or project out body language, which is reflecting exactly what you're thinking in your mind. So as soon as he says something that you're actually like, oh, that's not what I actually want in a partner, you're going to make faces and make body language like that's not what you want in a partner. He's going to receive that, he's going to shut down, and he's going to stop sharing. You lose then. Vice versa, even if you're judging it, even if you're like, this is not what I want in a partner, but you're self-aware enough to be like, I'm going to look interested. I'm going to smile. I'm going to look intrigued. I'm going to, even ask questions and follow-up questions as if this is the most fascinating thing I've ever seen in my life or heard in my life. This story is just so great and amazing. You're just so great and amazing. And I'm going to make sure I make him feel like that. What's going to happen is he's going to continue telling you more and giving you more and more information. And he's never going to realize that everything that he's telling you is actually helping you realize that he's not the man for you. Okay? So being a good listener and practicing being a good listener, specifically, especially your nonverbal cues and your body language, is a great way to master your emotions that the men can actually be seeking after you. Because the thing about it is, as crazy as this sounds and as unrealistic as this sounds, when you become a better listener, you become way more attractive to men. Why? Because in the process of them sharing themselves with you, talking about themselves, the same way it makes you feel good to yap about yourself to other guys is the same way it makes guys feel good when they can get off their chest everything that they're thinking and feeling, all their wants, all their desires, all their needs, every thought that they've ever had. To you, be open and honest with you and have you receive that in a way that's non-judgmental. That feels very good, and it's very hard to get. So they become attached to you even more so because you're able to give that to them. And then guys begin chasing after you because they're constantly in search and addicted to that feeling that you give them of being non-judgmental and being such a great, awesome listener. It serves you and them because he feels good about you. He chases after you. He pursues you. You feel good because now you're learning more about him and you're able to make a more clear decision on whether you want to spend and invest more time in him because you actually know more about him. Okay, so it's kind of like a win-win all the ways around. So number one is objectivity. And number two, we had listening. Okay, let's see. Ocean Vibe says he provoked me. He said I married my girlfriend last week. He said I married my girlfriend last week. I said 2 days after. He called me to say again, I don't really understand that. I don't really understand. You might have to reword that, okay? Deb earlier said, oh my God, I went on a date and he drank a lot of wine. It was sloppy. Sorry. I made it home, surprise and my discernment by 8:30 p.m. Good. I'm glad you did. Right? So it's very important that you guys are good listeners. It's a very good way to, when you're practicing this is how you master your emotions. This is one of the ways you work on not just freely, allowing your emotions to control you, even to your detriment. Someone asked, what type of question do we have? I actually have a whole show dedicated to the type of questions that are great to ask on a date. So you can go watch that show. Just because if I go into too much detail, I don't want us to get too sidetracked here. Okay, so number one was objectivity. Number two, we had listening. And number three, let's discuss love bombing. I know you guys hate or love this one, depending on how you view it. Okay, now, love bombing is very dangerous. Because for those of you who are validation queens, some of you might be a validation queen, meaning that you love validation. The process of love bombing can be a very dangerous process because if you aren't in control, when someone love bombs you, you will lose control because it will be so emotionally overwhelming to you that you won't be able to, you'll just start shaking and you'll start glitching. You won't be able to think straight. And all your objectivity, like we talked about at the very beginning, will go out the window. Very, very bad this. Okay, this one. Because if you are not taking care of your own confidence and doing things to validate yourself, you will be very vulnerable to love bombing and to a guy coming along and dating you and pouring it on thick to the point where you feel so over the top amazing about yourself because of how thick he's pouring it on. And then the moment he takes some of that validation back away from you, you're going to start starving. And you're going to become very desperate to recreate that same level of validation, because that is the cycle. The men, when they realize you're one of these desperate for validation girls, right? Needy for the attention, they will come along you. They will come across you. And in the process of learning and understanding you, they'll pour it on real thick. I want you to be my wife. I want you to be the mother of my children. Oh my God, you're so amazing. The moment I saw you, I fell in love with you. It was like love at first sight. I just knew I wanted to be with you for the rest of my life. Literally the millisecond that I met you, as soon as we connected eyes, I just knew that everything is going to be amazing and everything is all right. I was feeling down and out and bad. But then the moment I laid my eyes on you, everything changed. And now my world was turned upside down. And everything's just so amazing now that I finally met you and laid my eyes on you. Okay. And when you are in a state where you haven't been validating yourself, when you haven't been taking care of yourself and giving yourself confidence, that's going to feel very overwhelming. You're going to be in such a hyper emotional state because you're like, oh my God, someone finally sees me. Oh my God, finally someone understands me. Oh my God, finally someone appreciates me like all these other guys never appreciated me. Oh my God, finally someone will treat me like a princess, even though all these other guys treated me like garbage, right? And you'll just you'll just be swept up in the emotion that you're feeling because this guy's laying it on so thick, to the point you can't even realize that it's unrealistic. Okay. And he's laying it on so thick. You're just Vita just said it right now. You're in fantasy land and you're just in a Disney princess movie where you're Cinderella. And this is your moment where you get to live out all of your dreams since you're a little girl. And the thing about that is like I said earlier, you lose all objectivity at that point. And it becomes very easily to manipulate and control you, because the moment he takes some of that validation, the moment he takes back some of that attention, now that you're starving and desperate to get that back again, I can say to you, if you want that validation and attention some more, then do more for me. Show me what you got. And all of a sudden, the script has been flipped on you, where you're in prove it mode and you're trying to prove to him, I can scrub the floor, I can clean the dishes, I can wash the pots while I, play with your stick, while I, you can utilize my squirrel while I do everything at once, and I show you that I'm the best person for you. And you're in prove it mode, trying to prove to him that you're worthy of the same amount of validation and attention that he was giving you at the beginning, because you so desperately need that validation and that attention. And so the way that you master that and take care of that is by increasing your own confidence in yourself and validating yourself by doing more things for yourself. I know that sounds simple, but also sounds like it doesn't make sense, but trust me, it does. You need to go out in your life and you need to do more things for you, and stop doing so many things for boys. I know we're here on the show talking about boys and talking about men and talking about what they want and talking about their feelings and all that good stuff. But I don't want you to lose sight of the fact that the most attractive version of you, okay, the most attractive version of you is the version of you that is investing in yourself. Okay, I never want you to lose sight of that. Don't make your entire life about boys. Don't make every decision that you make about what the boys want. Make decisions about what you want to do, what you feel, what you want out of a relationship. Okay? This show even though we talk about relationships and we talk about guys, is really actually about you. We just talk about relationships and guys as a kind of like a funnel when we're really talking about you. And the reason I mention that is because when you do these things for yourself, when I say do things for yourself, I'm talking about taking care of yourself hygienically, going to the gym, running, if you like running, whatever your thing may be, Pilates, doing yoga, whatever your thing may be, right? Taking care of your skin, eating good meals, right? It can be something so small, taking care of your hair, taking care of your nails, whatever it may be. All of these different things that require your energy on you, because that's what you need. We know they always talk about self-love, self-care and stuff like that, right? It's kind of more of a little bit of a buzzword now, but it's so important to being able to properly receive in relationships and also not be manipulated in relationships when you actually have some self-love going on. Because if you don't have some self-love and self-care going on, it's going to be very painful to be in a relationship where you finally feel like you're getting a little bit of that. And then when someone takes that away or focuses some of their own time and attention on themselves, you're going to feel offended that that person is not paying attention to you or loving on you 10,000%. And all of your relationships are going to become a very painful version of you putting all of your time and energy into someone else and expecting them to do the same for you, only to realize that they're also going to focus on themselves as well. And now you're giving and giving and giving and not receiving anything in return. And you're wondering why all your relationships drain the life out of you. Okay, so you gain security by going out and doing more things for yourself, discovering some of your interests, discovering some of your passions, discovering some of your hobbies. I always tell you guys, if you don't know if you have any passions or hobbies or skills or things you like, go right on TikTok. The most of you have a TikTok. All you got to do is search up things to do in my city, whatever city you live in. If you live in Miami, things to do in Miami. You live in Chicago, things to do Chicago, New York, things to do in New York, LA, Manchester, London, Nigeria, South Africa, Australia, wherever you live. Things to do in my city. And you just got to scroll through, look at all the beautiful content creators that will be creating content, as strange as it sounds, about different things to do in a major city. If you live in the suburbs, just type in things to do in the major city that's closest to you. Okay? And you'll find lots of amazing things that you can do. And all you have to do is scroll through and pick one to try. You have to try things if you don't know what you enjoy and what you like. And I hate to tell you that. It's not gonna pop up on you on an app. Okay? Right? You're going to have to actually go out and try it to realize that you like it. But the thing about it is, the amazing part about life is there's actually so many things out there that you would love, be passionate about, and really enjoy. You just have yet to discover them. And that's the beauty about trying things. Okay? And Coco says, I'm going to a mixer tonight and I'm terrified. See, that's odd. See, the thing about it is, once you get into the habit of trying things, once you get into the habit of trying to discover what it is you like, what it is you enjoy, you'll actually become addicted to the feeling and the rush you get of trying something new, and the outcome being so unexpected that you literally don't know what you're walking into. Yes, it's uncomfortable, but you, after a while of doing that rush kind of becomes exciting. It kind of becomes something to shake up your life that's interesting in your life, where, oh my gosh, I'm doing something I've never tried before. Oh my gosh, I'm going somewhere that I've never gone before. Oh my gosh, I'm about to have an experience that I've never had before. And you see, just that fast, your life becomes actually full of interesting things outside of just being in a relationship with a guy. And see, if you consistently have that, then your relationships with guys become way more balanced. See, your life doesn't become only interesting when there's a guy in it. Your life is interesting 24/7. And so you take a lot less from guys if your life is interesting with or without them. And you approach your relationships a lot more securely and confidently when, if they're not acting right or how they're supposed to act, your life is not any less because they're not with you, or because they're not spending time with you, or because they're not in it. You're whole regardless. Okay. And part of mastering your emotions and why this becomes so important is because when you can master this security and this confidence, right, you will be able to go into your relationships with these guys and these dating stages with confidence and security that they can't knock you off. They can't turn you into a desperate, anxious ball of anxiety where as soon as they take away some of that validation or attention, now you're all out of whack and now you're easily controlled. And see, like I said before, the guys receive that confidence. They receive that security. They receive that belief in yourself and your own value. And they treat you according to that belief that they receive from you. Okay? You're telling a guy through verbal and nonverbal cues if he needs to value you or not. You're showing him and telling him that through your words and your actions and your body language and your energy, your aura, all that. So you need to be hyper aware that you're filling and fixing all of these voids inside you that might lead you to be someone who's insecure and anxious, hoping that you as a man, maybe when you come into my life, all my life will all of a sudden be interesting and have some meaning. And, you know, I'll actually be able to have some happiness in my life. If you, big, strong man, can bestow upon me some happiness that I never have in my life if it wasn't for you as the man. Like you're not enticing or attractive when you're in a state like that. Please bring happiness to my life. If you can't bring happiness to my life, then my life is miserable without you. I have nothing going for me, nothing interesting going on in my life if it isn't for your manliness to come and bestow happiness upon me. Okay? It's not really attractive. And the men definitely won't be chasing after you when you have that type of energy. They will be chasing you, however, when you can master this confidence and this security in yourself by doing things for yourself, and master having confidence in yourself by doing those things, by doing loving on yourself, taking care of yourself in all of these different ways. Okay. Right? Elida says, what about sharing those things on social media and attracting guys via social media this way? To be honest with you, there's nothing with doing those things and sharing those things on social media. However, I wouldn't say you should share those for the purpose of attracting those guys. I should say you should share those for the purpose of just sharing those because that's your life. I always think the only focus in terms of attracting guys for you, the best type of focus is to invest in you. In the process of investing in you and doing things and actually like stepping outside of your house and like actually like doing things outside of your house, you'll meet people will be attracted to you, and people, especially the guys, will want to get to know you better, want to take you out on dates. You'll be shocked about how many dates you'll get asked on when you're just investing in yourself, doing things outside of your house. Some of you, and I'm working on a really amazing project to help you guys with that. I'm working on I won't tell you yet. I'm working on a really amazing project to help you guys with that. But I know some of you struggle with that because, you know, the dating apps make it seem like, well, I should just be able to sit in my house and message whoever I want to message, and not step outside of my house. But I expect to find love without stepping outside of my house. That's not how that works. And the funny, ironic part is for a lot of you, I know that you want to have your own Disney princess movie. You want to have your own Wattpad story. But you notice all of those coinky-dink stories happen when people actually take a step outside of their house. How many of your favorite Wattpad stories, Disney princess movies, or smut books start off by saying, so I opened Tinder today. So I opened Hinge today. So this guy responded to my prompt today and, you know, da-da-da-da-da-da. Have you noticed that all of your favorite Wattpad stories, smut books, Disney princess movies, they all start by someone stepping outside of their house and meeting someone somewhere in real life, not over the phone on a dating app or on Instagram. Okay? Not to diss that. I just want you to understand the only way for you to see the result that you want in terms of someone being genuine with you, someone taking initiative with you, someone valuing you and wanting to actually properly be in pursuit of you in a relationship, like a real relationship. You can have that Disney princess story or Wattpad story or smut book, whatever, But that only happens if you step outside of your house. I know it sounds scary, but it's the truth. Okay? So that is why love bombing is so important in terms of mastering your emotions. You have to be able to master your ability to not get love bombed. And that's by gaining that security. Okay? So objectivity. You need to learn how to be a better listener. Then we talked about love bombing. Let's discuss number 4, which is temptation. This one I'm probably gonna rant on. I don't want to spend forever on this, but I'm gonna rant. I need us to come to an understanding, okay? That I understand some of you are on the younger side. And because some of you are on the younger side, you're a bit more naive, a bit more green to things, new to things. So some experiences you've never had, so you don't know how to respond or react to certain things just because you haven't had the experience enough to respond or react to it in a particular way. However, I also know some of you are on the, we'll just say, more experienced side. Okay? Now, regardless of what side of the coin you're on, temptation is a very important emotion that you need to learn to master if you want to have successful relationships, and especially if you even want these guys to value you and want to chase after you. You need to know the guys that want access to your Squirtle will do whatever it takes to get access to your Squirtle. That includes not telling you they only want access to your Squirtle. That includes pretending as if there's this whole other story or reason that they want to get close to you that doesn't make it clear or obvious that they're only there to get access to your Squirtle. You need to be aware of that reality and not sell yourself on the dream that, I'm not saying that guys won't value you or guys won't care about you or want to spend time with you, but not to sell yourself on the dream that every guy who shows you attention is showing you attention because they want to marry you and make you their wife. You need to accept the reality that some guys are just showing you attention because they want to see how easy it would be to take advantage of you and get access to you. Mastering temptation is about being forward thinking enough that you can understand how situations will escalate themselves to a place where you become emotionally vulnerable to however you feel in that current moment, that will end up in you making a decision that doesn't serve you long term in this particular relationship. Are you following me so far? What I'm referring to, I'll give you an example so that we're all on the same page. Let's say a guy invites you to his house because he wants to, have dinner, right? And make dinner with you or whatever it may be. And let's say when you come over, he's like, I want us to have dinner at my house instead of going out. And let's say it's the first date. And he's like, I don't want to go out. Let's have dinner at my house instead. And let's, open a bottle of wine. Right? And you're thinking to yourself, oh, that sounds nice. It sounds like he really cares. It sounds like he really wants, to do something nice. And then by the time you get over to his place, he's like, oh, I didn't really have time to cook. Let's just pop a couple of pizza pockets in the microwave. And then you're like, wait, what? I thought we were going to make dinner. No, we won't make dinner. Just pizza pockets for tonight. I couldn't make dinner. So then you sit on the couch and you're eating a damn pizza pocket. And you're like, well, this is, I guess it's not as romantic as I thought. He's like, I love to watch some shows while, I eat pizza pockets. Let's just turn on some Netflix. And you're like, okay, so pizza pockets and Netflix, I guess we're having a chill night tonight. and you are eating pizza pockets and Netflix, and then he pulls a bottle of, instead of it being wine now, it's vodka. And he pulls a bottle of vodka out and he says, "Yeah, I got some leftover vodka. You want to, we get drunk, have some pizza pockets, vodka, pizza pockets. That sounds good." And you're like, "Okay, I guess I'm here now. Pizza pockets, we'll drink, I guess. We'll talk, whatever, Netflix." And bada bing, bada boom. Now you're drunk. Now you're together alone in his room. Pizza pockets are done now. Netflix is on now. And now he's reaching for your behind. He's reaching for your behind. Things are feeling good now. You feeling a bit loosey-goosey because that vodka in your system, right? Your Squirtle's starting to squirtle a little bit. And one thing leads to another. All of a sudden, you slept with him. And while you didn't say yes to him making or going over to his place for dinner on the first date because you wanted to sleep with him, the mistake wasn't really sleeping with him. The mistake was not being forward thinking enough to see how going over to his place on the very first date could be detrimental to your relationship or to the future of what you're trying to get out of this relationship. Okay. And mastering your emotions is also, like I said, about being forward thinking enough to see the spaces and the places in which you will become emotionally vulnerable. And you won't be able to think straight because you'll have all of these external circumstances going on around you and within you, as internal circumstances within you, that make it very hard to make the correct or right decision in the moment. And so it wasn't necessarily just your bad decision making, but there was a lot of other factors going on, like the drinking, like the being over at his house alone, like the, all that stuff that led to you being able to make a mistake. Right? Even though when you first made the decision to go over to his place, you weren't making the decision necessarily to make that mistake. And by the time you're in that scenario, you're in that situation, you're so weak because now you're all riled up. Now you're the one H'd up as well. Now you got that alcohol running through your veins. You got that vodka running through your system. Now you're feeling good too. And all of these things factor into you being emotionally vulnerable in that moment where you make a decision where the moment you wake up the next day, you're like, "Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Oh, that wasn't the decision for me to make. Oh, I shouldn't have gone about it like that." And the reason this can actually affect your ability to be chased or not or pursued by the men is because I'm sure we all know by now, if you're going to go over to a guy's house on the first date and sleep with him on the first date before he even knows your last name, there's a good high likelihood that relationship will not last. And vice versa, if you're able to be forward thinking in your relationships and even your talking stages to see how in the places and the circumstances and the situations in which you might be emotionally vulnerable, if you're able to be forward thinking enough to look out for those situations, you'll protect yourself and you'll also have better and stronger relationships because you won't fall prey to the mistakes that fun girls are making, or even the girls that don't intend to be fun girls are making. And the men will be able to value you properly. Okay? Because as weird and as strange as this sounds, men might want to, truthfully, I've been in this position myself. Men might actually want to respect you and take the relationship serious and build with you, but they're still going to try to sleep with you. And they're still going to try to tempt you and put pressure on you to see how far they can get with you. So in the process of him liking you and actually wanting to build with you, if he sleeps with you too early, he's literally going to say to himself, despite the fact that I like her and I actually kind of wanted to build something with her and see where this goes, the fact that I slept with her so early on and got so much access to her so easily, I'm not as interested anymore. I'm good now. As painful as that is to hear. And so mastering your ability to not fall prey or fall victim to temptation will be very beneficial to you, to getting the guys to view you the right way, to getting the guys to value you the right way, which in turn will get them pursuing you the right way. Okay? Does that make sense? Shelly Anna says, Tony Gaston says, yes, they will always test you because they are searching for their wife. They need to test to see who's who. I say the same thing. I say the same thing. I second that. You know what I mean? Because the truth of the matter is, whether or not I really like a guy or think she's interesting, I'm going to test her, because I'm telling you the truth and the honest truth. I don't want to diss you, but 99.9% of women, in my own experience and in a lot of my guy friends' experience, will talk a big game but aren't really about a big game. And when I say talk a big game, I just mean talk about how they're so different because they're not like none of these other girls, and they got to get taken serious, and they are going to only carry themselves with respect, and they're a wife and they're wifey material. Every girl says that. Literally every girl says that same thing. And then as soon as you apply a little bit of pressure on them, as soon as you get them a little bit emotionally invested in you and then get them attached to you, all of their morals and standards and values goes out the window. And so guys become accustomed to that happening over and over again. And so it goes in and out in 1 year and out the other when you start talking about, I'm wifey material, I got to get taken seriously and all that, because they just say to themselves, yeah, this will pass once I put some pressure on you and I'll get access to you all the same. Okay? So the guys are going to test you whether they like you and want to build with you or not. So it becomes incumbent on you, just meaning your responsibility, to make sure that regardless of how much he wants to test you, you're able to stand your ground. And you're only going to be able to stand your ground if you're not putting yourself in harm's way and making it harder for yourself by putting yourself in a position where you're in deep, deep temptation. Because we're all emotionally weak and vulnerable at times, even men. But the most important thing is understanding that you can get emotionally weak and vulnerable and not putting yourself in that position to make a harder decision than you have to. Okay? Does that make sense? So number 1, we had objectivity. Number 2 was listening. Number 3, we talked about love bombing. Number 4, temptation. And number 5, we have projection. Okay? So I've talked to you guys about this before. You do not become attached to the idea that it has to be that particular person that you're dating or seeing at the time that you end up with. You wait for men to show you that they are the person you're looking for in your source code. Remember, we talked about source code at the very beginning. You wait for them to show you that through their actions, that they are the person you're looking for, right? And that objective nature that you approach the relationship with will make you seem more calm and more confident in yourself and in what you're looking for. And in turn, the men are going to receive you not as some anxious, desperate woman who desperately needs any man to love her, but as someone who is aware of what they're seeking for and is not going to take less than whatever their standards or expectations are. And so you need to control and master your ability or the feeling that you naturally want to project whatever idea of a perfect husband or partner that you have onto someone who is not that. Okay? Because that's the natural inclination as you become more emotionally invested in men and the guys that you're dating, is you want to project onto them, oh, you're so perfect, you're the person I'm absolutely looking for, you're the person I'm going to spend the rest of my life with, even if they're not that, even if they haven't even shown you that. Or for some of you, it's just that you want so badly to believe in it. As soon as he starts telling you words like, yeah, I want to get taken serious. I want a serious relationship, right? You're just immediately, you just start believing, oh, you're just the perfect guy that I was absolutely looking. You're just exactly who I wanted. You're just exactly you're the Prince Charming that I was looking for, right? And the moment, you fall prey to that, now all of a sudden it makes it very easy for you to say, well, you're exactly who I was looking for anyway, so you might as well be able to get access to my Squirtle. You're exactly who I was looking for anyway, so let me open my legs to you and take advantage of me. And then as soon as he does that, you realize that he's really not that. And he says to you, well, that was good. That was great. I'm going to be on my way now because I wasn't really here to actually grow anything with you. I just wanted you to think I was. Okay, so I'll give you guys an example, right? Let's say, even like I just said, let's say a guy is on a first date with you talking all this amazing story about how he's just looking for something serious. And let's say you met him on Hinge, because you guys love Hinge. You met him on Hinge, and he's like, I'm just looking for something so serious. I'm so tired of all the girls that'll play games and tired of all that, all the back and forth. I just finally want to grow with someone. And you're just so ready to hear that. You're so ready to feel that you just begin projecting onto him this perfect man, this perfect relationship, this perfect husband, because you're hearing him say how much he wants a serious relationship, even though the words mean absolutely nothing, right? And in the process, you project onto him who you want him to be. And when he doesn't act in line with who you want him to be, you begin justifying, oh, he's not playing games or stringing me along. He wants this to be serious. He's just, not sure yet. No, he's just, figuring some things out. Oh, he's just not consistent with me because, he's really busy at work. It's not because he's inconsistent because he's playing games or anything like that. And you just continuously justify because you're projecting a personality onto him instead of observing and receiving whatever his actions are actually. Not what you want them to be. Okay? Does that make sense to you guys? Sky says, I met the new guy finally leaving my house thinking he was it, but he's playing games now. It's painful, but it's good to leave your house. You step outside of your house, and I promise you, the only way good things can happen for you in a relationship is for you to step outside of your house. And you don't need to step outside of your house to go to the club or the bar. Just step outside of your house and do something you find interesting. That way, you don't have to worry about how much time has passed since you've met a boy. You can actually just focus on the thing that you're interested in, okay? My advice to you is not to step outside of your house thinking, I'm going to step outside of my house and I expect to see 3 men today. I expect to get men to ask me for my number and come up to me and chase after me in the street and, try to sniff my butthole when I go out and step outside of my house. That's the only purpose to me stepping outside of my house is to meet a boy. No. Step outside of your house for the purpose of enjoying your life. I know that sounds crazy that you should enjoy your life and be happy with yourself and be happy with the things that you're doing. I know that sounds absolutely insane. You happiness without a boy? Oh my God. Insanity, right? But it's actually possible, and you'll actually have better relationships if you start approaching your life that way, because your actual life will become interesting. Okay? Patty says no work relationships. Maybe one day we'll have a discussion about work relationships. I also agree. Work relationships is probably not a good idea in terms of finding someone because it can get very messy. Right? It can be very painful. Vicky says earlier, she says, Chelsea, we are not the problem. Our emotions can be a problem. Some men are simple-minded. We are complex creatures, right? This is why I share with you guys the objective of men, so that you guys can better understand how men think, how they approach things, and how you can get the responses that you want from the guys. Does that make sense? Okay. We have so much to answer, so I need to hop into this right now. Discord time. It's 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 Discord time. Okay, it's Discord time. Let's see here. It's Discord time, and we're gonna get into it. Okay, let's go right into it. So we got first off, let's see here. I want to make sure we had some crazy questions yesterday. We had a whole PDF yesterday. So let me make sure I'm here at the very bottom. Okay. We had onesies or onesies. Sorry, I said onesies last time. It's onesies. to answer because I didn't get to answer it last time. I wanted to make sure I get to onesies. So onesie asks, please help me. I found the one I want to seduce. Will it be possible or should I walk away? Let's see, onesies. I'm 48. He's 50. I manifested a man who lives over 4,000 miles away. So seeing each other requires a plane ticket and a day of travel and $400 at least. And I met him on December 21st, 2024 on a dating app. Was going so good. Everything just flowed. 2 weeks later, he wanted to see me for several weeks in March. He is very cautious and plans things carefully. So good so far. During our discussion in the month that followed, I mentioned that I have herpes. Okay, no judgment. As I completely own it and actually totally forgot since it is such a minor issue in my life. He said I can't have a partner with herpes. Sorry, it's just funny. It's just a funny statement. I'm not making fun of you onesies. But I wouldn't mind being just friends. I reacted to a deep wound of rejection and abandonment, and he blocked me. The same day, I reached out to him with a friend's nah, that ain't it. That ain't it, onesies. No, don't do that. If someone blocks you, they blocked you for a reason. And repaired the relationship. Okay, so it worked. I did my work. Well, what work do you have to do? You can't undo herpes. I am a trauma release coach and use my tools on myself so I no longer have rejection issues. Oh, so are you saying it wasn't that he blocked you because you have herpes. Sorry, I misread that. He blocked you because of your reaction to him having a problem with you having herpes. Okay, now I see why the work changed your situation. I understand now. We are now You say this so freely and openly as if you're proud of it. We are now pen pals. We are now pen pals, and it has been 5 months that we have been texting each other 4 to 5 times every morning and every night. Are you trying to flex? Are you trying to flex? What type of flex is this? Chat, tell me what type. I'm maybe the age difference. I am unfamiliar with this type of flex because it sounds like you're trying to flex on me and on the chat, but I'm not sure what type of flex this is. I don't understand how texting someone for 5 months straight is a flex. I don't think you should be proud of that. Even though it is long distance, I have been doing everything Tomisin says. Okay, I guess you were saying 4 to 5 times so that you're not really texting that much. Okay, I get it now. So I am the divine feminine in this interplay. So I forced him to fall in love with me even from a distance. You're a pen pal, okay? So I don't know if it really worked. You're a pen pal. Even though he has never seen me, okay, it didn't work. He's never seen you in person. Okay, onesie, I know you're hyped up, you're excited, you know you met a new guy, you like this guy. The relationship does not start until you meet this person in person. I don't like doing this with you guys. I don't like doing this. This pen pal thing, you meet on a dating app, all you've been doing is texting, some phone calls, maybe some video chats. You don't actually know that person. I really hate to burst your bubbles, but it can be very different. And chat, please tell me in the chat. I don't want it to just be like I'm talking out of my butt. Have you ever texted, called, and video chatted with someone a whole bunch, and then when you met them in person, the energy and the feeling you got was very different? I want you guys to be aware that video chatting, calling, and texting, while it's fun, it's enjoyable, it will never substitute being in front of someone in real life, because the feeling and the experience that you have of someone when you're with them in real life will a lot of times be very different from the experience of being on a phone call or a video chat with them. And until you experience what it's like to actually be around them and with them, you can never know for real or for sure if this is the relationship for you. So I know in your mind, you're so certain that this is the man you manifested, but you can never really know that until you're sitting down in person with him. And the longer, see, this is the most horrible, horrific part about this, is that you're building, you see this, right? You're building your understanding of who he is and what your relationship is like without meeting him. The problem is when you finally do meet him, you're going to have all of these expectations of what it will feel like and look like to be in an actual relationship with him. The thing about that is when you do meet him, anything that veers off of that or outside of that, even if it's not necessarily bad, if it's just different than what you expected, will feel a lot like disappointment. And when it feels a lot like disappointment, you're going to think to yourself, oh no, we don't actually have a connection. Oh no, this isn't actually the person for me. Oh no, this is actually not working out. When in reality, the person that you met is the person they always were. The only difference is you came into that relationship, meeting them for the first time, with a lot more expectations of what they should be like and what it should feel like, instead of just experiencing them and appreciating them for who they are and what it feels like to be with them. Okay? He says he's in love with my soul and he doesn't care what I look like. That's cap. I'll just be so straight up with you. I don't care what type of guy this is. That's a load of BS. Okay? If you were, I just have to be honest with you. I'm sure he probably likes you and thinks you're interesting. If you showed up and you were 600 pounds and disgusting, I don't think that he would have the same outlook on your relationship. I just don't like when people cap like that. It's just it's unnecessary sauce for no reason. Don't lie. It's okay to say looks aren't everything, but don't act as if he does. Just don't lie. But for some reason, his mind rejects my herpes. He calls me his best friend and says we are linked for life. As my treacherous little twin, and you know that we locked in. Yeah. He planned that we will live together and I will have a room in his house. Oh yeah? That's what he said to you? LOL, as if, okay, I'm glad you're not that dumb. For some reason, he can't let go. He is not seeing anyone else. Are you sure about that? You don't even know, you don't even know if behind the camera on the phone, there's literally his wife in bed or his wife's in the other room or at work. You don't even know. What is he doing? I am off work this week and we're supposed to go hiking together. So this is supposed to be your first meet. So I can practice my in-person tricks. He canceled for stupid reasons. You see what I'm talking about when I say that these pen pal relationships aren't real? You've been talking to this guy for 5 months, and when you're finally looking forward to like a real in-person meetup, he cancels for what you consider to be stupid reasons. So something that's not that life or death serious. I try to be explaining to you guys that pen pal relationships is never going to work out how you think it's going to work out. And this is sounding a lot like one of those. I think he is so afraid of me. Is that what you think? Do I intimidate him? We'll discuss. This week, I told him that I no longer want to be friends and don't want him to text me hearts and kisses any longer, or gifts or kisses snuggling in bed, and tell me he loves me, as this type of communication is reserved for my beloved, and that I don't have and that I don't want any, and that he doesn't want anything. He tells me that the only thing he has trouble with is my herpes. This is just actually really funny, I won't lie. And that otherwise I am perfect for him and that I am life partner material. But he has to decide. I said, I am not a decision, I am a definite yes. So you told him that. Okay. I want a real relationship commitment from a man. He knows I like him too. I told him that this is not an ultimatum, but I am not going to do this because I am not going to spend months of my life waiting for him to be ready. There is a lineup. Not true. And when he decides, get at the back of the line for an interview. He even said he wanted to come out to see me by biking over. Okay, Cap, if he really wanted to. What do you mean by that, though? You're going to get me mad for a second. What do you mean by he wanted to see you by biking over? How far does he actually live from you? Onesies? Onesies? How can he see you by biking over if he lives 4,000 miles from you? Are you not telling me the truth? What do you mean? Like, okay, so on a motorcycle, maybe I'm confused. Sorry. I'm confused. Maybe you're talking about on a motorcycle. That's what you meant by bike. Okay, I'm confused maybe. He will be passed away, unalived, by the time he gets here. So I've been listening to Tomisin, you spelled my name right, it's Tomisin, obviously, and now I want to be unavailable without looking like I don't want him. On Friday night, I came out of the blue and mentioned I am having a social media and screen fast. Not true. LOL, working on myself. So you just told him something that's not true. Why fake the social media fast? Why not just actually do it? He thought it was an excellent idea since I have an online business and I am always on social media or on my computer. He was disappointed when I told him it included my phone too, probably because he's a pen pal, and that I will not be able to communicate at all until Thursday at midnight. It is Sunday morning and he has sent me 12 texts to date. Good. I think he has anxiety. How should I proceed? I'm obviously on his mind a lot. Am I being too forceful and difficult or even mean? My mom says if I continue, he will be at my doorstep by this week. Your mom's a very smart woman. I don't want that. I am going... What? I am going to finish my screen fast, but what do? I want commitment and no more limbo. By the way, Tomisin, you are gold. I so appreciate you and I'm so grateful for you. The universe directed me to you. My name is spelled Tomisin. I just have to correct you on that. Okay, so thank you for the message, onesies. I think in your situation, literally what you're doing is working and you're scared of it working. I don't understand. He sent you over 12 texts as soon as you... It's amazing. As soon as you cut off his ability to message you, and he'll message you, and then he'll realize that messaging you is not a way to contact you. You know what's crazy? You want to know what's crazy? This is like actually insane. You know, the math works out. If he only has the option of seeing you in person or messaging you all day and all night, and you message him back all day and all night, and he's complacent with messaging you back all day and all night, he'll message you back all day and all night, and he'll never see you in person. But you know what's crazy about the math is the moment you subtract his ability to message you all day and all night, if he wants to continue having access to you, there's only one option left, is to see you in person in real life. And so if he really likes you that much and you don't text him back and you don't make yourself available on the phone, his only option is to take that plane ticket, go travel that 4,000 miles and show up at your doorstep like your mom said. Your mom's a smart woman. The moment you take a step back and only give him one option to see you and spend time with you, he will take that option if he's truly interested in you. And what it looks like is if he's sending you 12 texts in the span of the time that you haven't been available on the phone, you're clearly, like you said, increasing his anxiety. Do not be looking to comfort him via text message. I would actually advise you, even after the Thursday is up, continue not texting him to the point where he's literally begging you to message him back and asking you why you're not interested in speaking to him. At which point you can then respond with, to be honest, I'm not interested in texting. If you want to see me, you can plan to pull up and we'll hang out. I'm not going to be a text buddy anymore. And just end it at that and don't respond to any more of his messages. He will have to do some deep thinking as to, is he willing to throw away this relationship simply because he wants to continue texting? Or does he really actually want to proceed and take this seriously by actually planning a meet with you in person? Okay, that's my advice to you. Next here we have, let's see. Okay, we have BLM wish list. Okay. Okay. By Cream Queen. Okay. Cream Queen. Hey, Tomisin. Hope you're well. No man drama. Just need some self-love advice assistance. Perfecting my wish list. Okay, Cream Queen. I've been putting together my wish list and revisiting it the past couple of months. And I've noticed that I have a crazy amount of things in my past that I used to accept from people that I no longer want to accept. I have always been confident and in love with who I am growing up and have never questioned my identity. But there is one thing that I am struggling with. As a child, I was always bullied and disliked by black guys and watched them put lighter women on pedestals. In fact, my first and only relationship was with a white guy for that reason. In that period, I felt like wasting time trying to date men that were entertaining a whole other audience was pointless. One of my morals is to be where I am appreciated, and with my ex is where I was appreciated. But as I grew up, I realized there are billions of black couples that exist. Very true. That there would be a black guy that will obsess over my blackness. And I knew that I wanted to be in love with my kind. So I explained my preferences again and my understanding of them. Today, I am pansexual and am also attracted to people of all races and ethnicities. But my race is the most attractive to me and the most comfortable for me to be with for cultural reasons. However, the black men that I find that I find myself often with end up cheating on me and leaving me for white women. Wow. Nearly every time I found out there was another girl, she was white. I would say 4 out of 5 of my situations have ended this way. As a result, this has scuffed my confidence and self-esteem, and I have started to question it gradually. I am starting to lose hope again in trying with black men after consistently being treated how I have. And I feel like I'm realizing why I've shifted my attention away from them in the first place. They usually end up using me for pineapples, then choosing other white women to actually commit to anyways. No hate. The partner that is on my wish list is not black. We're going to talk about this. And it is hard for me to want something that has never served me positively. I've also decided that any history with white women is non-negotiable for me. A bit extreme. But I don't want my wish list to be rooted in trauma or hate. Okay. Am I racist or bigoted for this? Should I eliminate race from my wish list overall and focus on the attributes I want them to have? How should I go about rebuilding my self-love? I find it hard to consistently see other women, specifically white women, get chosen over me. Okay, Cream Queen, quite a deep question you have here, actually, for your name. And it's funny, I think that in a very interesting way, you answered some of your own questions with your own questions or responses. It's funny how that works out. This is why this can be quite therapeutic. So my answer to you is, while I understand, I can at least try and empathize with you. Okay, I don't exactly know what you're going through because I'm not a woman, so I haven't quite experienced that. But I can empathize with the idea that you feel like you have been treated less than because of your skin color, and I understand that. Okay, and while I acknowledge that that is your pain and that is the struggle that you've gone through in your life, I also want to advise you to not allow that experience to shape the rest of your life. Simply because carrying around that much pain and trauma, actually kind of like you mentioned, carrying around that much pain and trauma only weighs you down. It doesn't really weigh anyone else down. You're the only one that ends up feeling that amount of, you see how you said your trauma or hate. And the pain you're carrying around with you will actually prevent you from seeing or experiencing relationships that are good for you that can actually be in line with what you're looking for. Because see, the thing about it is, even though you've had the traumatic experience and it is traumatic, it doesn't make it any less traumatic because you're trying to move forward from it. Even though you've had that traumatic and painful experience, the idea that you would look for a partner doesn't even necessarily mean that if you want your partner to be of the same ethnicity as you, there's nothing wrong with that. But the fact that you want your partner to never have any history with white women, and that's a non-negotiable for you, that's not rooted in a preference. That's rooted in your hatred for your painful experiences that you've had. And you actually kind of pointed that out. And the reason that this is not going to work out positively for you is because now all of a sudden, even if you were to find someone who is in line with the type of relationship that you want, with the type of partner that you want, that makes you feel good, that is everything that you've wanted in a relationship and in a husband, you're going to literally throw that away simply because of your hatred for someone else who you're not even in a relationship with. This is why I always tell you guys, your focus needs to be in the right place. It's very easy for us as human beings to put our focus on a whole bunch of things and people that don't matter or don't affect our lives. You understand what I'm saying? These white women are not, regardless of what they do or what your experience is, you're not in a relationship with those women. You're in a relationship with the man. So your focus should be on the man and how you feel about the relationship, not on the people that he's not even in a relationship with. Okay? This is part of the things where I talk about, focus in the wrong place. And your focus is so much on these white women that you're not even able to see. If your focus is all on that, you're never going to be able to decipher, is this actually the relationship that I'm looking for? Is this actually the type of way I want to be treated? Do I actually feel good about where I am, right? You'll never be able to be focused on that because you're just focused on the history of the people that he's been with. When if he's not with them, that's an acknowledgement that those situations didn't work out. So why are you worried about who he's not with? And your energy and your focus is in the wrong place. And you're going to close yourself off to the possibility of meeting someone great and amazing simply because of someone they're not in a relationship with. It just, when you break it down like that, it starts to be more obvious how that is totally pointless and useless to you. Okay? And if you feel that much pain and hurt still, even when you break it down and think of it like that, then you still have some things to work on before you start dating in the dating world. Because it's one thing to try and learn and understand people and then base what you want on if this is someone you want to continue investing your time in. But understanding and learning the person is not necessarily saying, oh, if you have been in a relationship with someone like this, I don't want to entertain a relationship with you. Because that has nothing to do with your ability to have a good relationship with that person. So it doesn't make sense. And a lot of your energy is misguided, I will say, in that sense. And so you're right. You do need to rebuild your self-love. And I actually think, in order to build up your own self-love, I think you need to, it's going to sound very strange. I'm trying to do word this carefully. I actually think you need to make some white friends, some white women friends. And you need to spend some time actually emotionally invested in some white women. As weird as this sounds, this is going in a place I know you didn't expect to go. The reason I say that is because it's very easy to judge and hate someone when you don't know them. When you actually meet someone and you grow a relationship with those people, you begin seeing things from a different perspective. I would advise you to make friends with some white women who have similar interests in you. So not just random white women. I mean white women, if you're into hip hop, white women who are into hip hop, who like to dance, have some rhythm, like spicy food, whatever it may be, whatever your interests are. That way you can actually start realizing that, hey, me and these white women have a lot more in common, right, than I originally thought. And just because our skin color is different, that doesn't make them any better than me, doesn't make me any less than them. And really, the preference is not necessarily about, oh, the white women are better, okay? Or the white women are, or I don't get picked over the white men. Because remember, I always say, what your mind is set on, whatever narrative you create in your mind, that's what you will continue to see, even if it's not that prevalent. That's the only thing you'll be able to see. The moment you buy a new car, that's the same car that you see every day, every time you're out on the road, because that car has entered your sphere, your world. And see, this thought, this truth that you feel is stapled in reality is all you're going to continue seeing for the rest of your life. And so you're actually going to continue feeling less than the white women until you break that understanding that you are less than the white women. And I think that would actually be best served by actually making some friends with white women who you share interests with and realizing that they go through pain and struggle just like you. They get cheated on just like you. It's not just you that gets cheated on. They get cheated on as well. They go through situations as well. They're human as well. Okay? And their skin color doesn't make you any better or you any less than, or them any better or them any less than. And with that realization, it will make it a lot easier for you to stomach the idea that your future partner, while he might be black, might have dated white women. Because truthfully, in this day and age that we're in, for you to be hoping that you're going to meet a black guy who's never dated a white woman, I'll be honest with you, you're going to struggle. And because the world is a lot more accepting of those type of things, and for good reason, as we all should be. So I don't want you to be so stuck in a mindset where you're going to be the only one miserable if you carry around that much hate within you, Cream Queen. Okay, so that is my response to you. Next we have Teddy asked, haha, but why would you talk into the mic like that, Thompson? Silly. Anyways, I think this is referring to something that she sent in before, Teddy sent in before. So I think she's referring to an old story she talked about. Guys, this is a par restaurant. The music is nice, not too loud. It's friendly conversation. I think Teddy had a situation about meeting a guy at a special spot, and she kept on going back to the spot, and she was talking about how the guy would like hug her and say she smells nice and all that stuff. The ambience is nice, so cool. Someone said in the chat, church for sure. Really, those kind of hugs are definitely not for church members. Thompson, I'm not texting him, not calling either. No rush, no anxiety at all. We let him cook. I appreciate your advice. Ciao, ciao. Thank you, Teddy. I appreciate the follow-up message. That's funny. That's because I was wondering when you were saying that. I was wondering what type of place you was. You weren't saying it. Next we have here Sushila. Okay, I think so. Sushila. So Sushila. Oh no, this is yeah, this is Sushila's message from before. Unfortunately, Sushila, her message was very hard to read, and so I told Sushila she had to resend it. Yeah, Sushila, I hope you have resent your message, because it's very important. I love how Cream Queens was structured. You see how that was a very easy, painless read. Everyone can follow along. That's because she reread it. She structured it right. It made sense. It was cohesive. It's like a classroom here, okay? Dante asks, am I playing the game right? Oh, I think has this one already been responded to? Okay. I'm 22, female. I don't want to chase guys, but I don't know how to make them chase me. I'm interested in a guy. He flirted last year. I was in a relationship and didn't care about it. I'm outgoing, love joking, chatting while he's quiet and easygoing, becoming more affectionate once he opens up. He's not shy. I was interested into, I think I did this one. Okay, I think I did this one last Friday. Wasn't shy at all. We went to the guy's house and became engaged, me joking. Yeah, I answered this one. I was like, I'm pretty sure I did that one. Right, chat? I did that one. Someone said Sushili's on the live chat. If Sushili's on the live chat, you can go and restructure your question there. I gotta see, the thing about it is, like, I would love to answer your question, but if it's gonna be long and detailed, you have to have it, like, you know, spell check. You can't message me like you're texting a buddy, because it makes it very hard for everyone, including me, to properly understand what's going on. I did ends already as well. This is for some reason it's popping up ones that I've already read here. So this is unique. I know I haven't done this one. Unique. 24 male, 28 female. Help, am I overthinking? Is it wise to wait for him? Unique asks, hi Tomisin, fellow Canadian here. Salute. Thanks for sharing your wisdom, insights, and perspective through this channel. You don't know how much of a difference you're making to girls' and women's lives all over the world. Thank you so much. I am a 28-year-old female, never been in a relationship before, because I moved a lot and lived in many different countries. Overthink and project into the future a lot, and I'm quite sentimental. Breakups will hit super hard for me. He is a 24-year-old young man, has never had a girlfriend before, very focused and clear on what he wants in life. Do not get into a relationship just for the experience, because he's already very busy with fam, friends, and such, and a career. We both think very long term. The problem right now is he's only starting second year of university while being self-employed and earns 100K a year. What type of problem is that? What type of problem is that? I don't see the problem there. He's 24, earning 100K a year while he's self-employed, while he's in university. That's like almost impossible. We both have mutual interest, but are holding back because we don't know if our timelines match. I will be 31 by the time he graduates, and I'm not sure if I can wait for him at this very crucial time period. He is everything I want in a man, same values, vision, goals, responsibilities, driven, caring, family oriented. We haven't talked in detail about the situation though. It's all just assumptions. So you're talking to me, but you haven't talked to him about it. Because he hasn't moved things forward, even though there's mutual attraction. It also is quite hard given our dynamic. I knew him through his boss as a potential client. What do you mean by that? So I can be his boss, client, his friend, or his potential partner. I think he's still thinking which bucket to put me in. I also told him before we first met that I only date guys 27 and older. So I'm not sure if that is hindering him. We first connected through IG, then he DM'd me to ask me for my number. It's better at least than a dating app. He messaged me once and we flirted a little bit, but after I cut it short to call it a night. He never texted back since. My question is, how do I give him the assurance to move forward and properly chase me? Really need your perspective and guidance on this. Thanks so much. Okay. Quite an interesting situation you're in, Unique, okay? First of all, I'm confused what your problem is. Like, no diss. He's 24 years old. He's in school. He'll eventually graduate from school. It's not forever. He's self-employed, which means he's gonna, he's growing a business. And already in the process of him being self-employed, he makes 100K a year. I do hope that you realize, if you're dating a 31-year-old, if you're dating a 41-year-old, if you're dating a 51-year-old, a guy twice your age, majority of those men are not even going to be making 100K a year. So I'm not sure what the issue is here. Like, yeah, he's young. Okay, cool. By the time he graduates, you'll be 31. Whoop-de-doo. You can still have babies by 31 years old. It's not a crime to have babies over 30. I hope you know that, right? I get that you'll be a little bit older and you have to be a little bit more patient. That's great. That's more time for you to learn and grow in this relationship, that you can be sure by the time you do have babies that, you're sure to be with this guy. Like, you're telling you go on to say, so basically you're saying age is the only issue, but then you go on to say he's everything that you want in a man. So This is where sometimes you guys get me upset because the focus is on the wrong thing. The focus should be on the relationship and what the relationship looks like, and if it's in line with how you want to be treated and all that good stuff. If someone fits those boxes, you can't be worried about arbitrary stuff like he's not even that much younger than you. You're 28 and he's 24. Like come on. Like you make it seem as if I'm basically on my I'm in the next couple of years I'm gonna be a grandmother, and he's just graduating high school, so the age difference is really hurting me, and it's really weighing on my mind. Like, you're 4 years older than this guy, and he already makes more money than 90% of the guys you would even be meeting that are your age. I guarantee you, 99% of 28-year-old men are not making 100K a year, assuming that's in USD or even CAD, sorry, the Canadian dollar. 99% of those men that are 28 are not making 100K a year. So I say that to say, what is the issue here? Now, your second part of your question, talking about how do I give him assurance to move forward? You don't. You just sit back and relax and allow him to pursue you. He already DM'd you, okay? So he already is trying to show his interest. He asked for your number. Cool. You don't need to do anything. He's already shown you that he's interested in you somewhat. He's flirted with you. Now, if he wants to continue seeing you, he wants to see you in person, allow him the space to do that. Don't be a textaholic. Don't be a texting buddy. I'd even get yourself off a DM. Don't be a texting available on the phone. Let him, if he wants to really see you and spend some time with you, pull yourself back away from the texting, away from the availability over the phone, so that he can say to himself, I really want her. I really want to be around her. I really want to spend some time with her. And in the process of him really wanting to spend some time with you, right? He will then pursue you, which is good. That's what you want. And the reality of it is, you don't have to do anything. So that is my advice to you in terms of what to do. Nothing. Do nothing and actually make yourself less available on the phone. Aside from the age thing, you're focused on the wrong thing. He makes 100K a year. He's got his life together. Uni plus school plus get so for real. 99% of the guys you meet that are even your age will not be doing any of this. And you kind of need a reality check, because maybe you haven't dated around enough to realize that 99% of men are bums, and they won't be doing any of the stuff that this guy is on a track to be. I'm almost going to curse because this makes me passionate. This guy's on a track to be a millionaire, and you're going to a millionaire, basically a future millionaire, is interested in you, and you're about to throw away your opportunity because you'll be 31 by the time he graduates school. You're losing it. You've lost the plot. You might have to go on some dates with some bums to realize how much you've lost the plot there. Okay. Next we have, let's make sure that I did the right thing. Okay. Next we have XX. Okay. XX, how to trap a hot guy that seems soft on the inside. Interesting. And your name is XX. I'm a female, 28. He's a male, 28. Okay, same age, should be good. He's got the best physique out there, with a face and money to match. Okay, basically, anybody would sleep with him in the drop of a hat. He asked me out for coffee, generally a chivalrous man with somewhat traditional patriarchal views of a man should do in terms of leading, providing, etc. The coffee date was more of him sharing his past with his ex, which he seemed unhappy at how she disrespected him by throwing food at him and using him for money. For context, his ex is also a beauty pageant winner. Oh, wow. Okay. In his words, she is a pretty face hiding a demon inside. Wow. He tells me I'm very pretty and petite. Okay, I'm a head shorter, but I do take good care of my appearance. He likes that I have a mind of my own. As I've said, I do have a strong faith in religion as opposed to most people our age. He says he's working on himself so he won't make the same mistake of devoting himself simping in his past relationships. Okay. He has been encouraging me to join him for his workouts and marathons. Who are you dating? Is this like, who are you dating? He says, sounds like he's out of literally like a book, which I said I would need some time to get up to speed. He said he likes that he's able to contribute positively in my life. In the meantime, I want to trap his ass. I want to trap him for the long haul. This is just funny. I wasn't expecting that. What strategy should I take so that he'd get out of his own head and how hot he is and hopefully be willing to follow me to church? Ha ha ha. Good question, XXS. XXX. Sorry. Like I say to all of you, when you ask me what you should do more, I always tell you do less. So in this case, do nothing. Why? This is all clear signs, right? That he wants to and is interested in you. Asks you out for coffee. He's chivalrous. He had a good conversation, right? He seems like he's being intentional. Tells you he's pretty. Tells you, you're interesting. He likes you and all that good stuff. He wants you to join him for his runs, his workouts. Okay. He's asking you to join him on his life. That's a very big deal. He's liking, this is actually a really big deal. Okay. He's asking you to come be a part of his workouts and marathons. He's trying to incorporate you into his life. This is very good because if he's incorporating you into his life, very quickly he'll become more emotionally invested in you because you'll become a part. Think about it. If he becomes accustomed to having you around in his workouts or his marathons or his runs or whatever, he'll become attached to you being there during those events. So if you're not there, it'll be very painful. He's going to continuously want you around more. That's good for you. So my advice to you would be do nothing in terms of you don't need to do anything more like, trying to be prettier or you don't have to do anything more. You don't have to text him more, nothing. When he asks you to come for these workouts and these marathons, I actually advise you, if he asks you to, join him. If the days that you're free, join him. Because when you join him and he continuously becomes accustomed to the experience of having you around while he's doing these things for himself, he'll begin becoming accustomed to incorporating you into his everyday regular life. It becomes that much more difficult and painful to let go of you, which is good. He'll also become more emotionally invested in you. The more emotionally invested in you, the more he'll pursue you, and it's a snowball effect. Aside from that, you don't need to do anything. He's already shown his interest in you. He's already taken a liking to you, and it's already very clear that he would be interested in growing this relationship and building it and pursuing you. So the more you do at this point, the actually less room you'll leave for him to be intentional about you. And I can 100% guarantee you, because I trust you, me, I know this because I'm a guy like this. A guy that takes care of himself, takes care of his money, takes care of his life, is very intentional in his life. Very intentional. And if he's this intentional about his life, he will be this intentional about his relationships and his partners. So if he identifies you as someone that he wants in his life, he will have you. Trust you, me. I am like this. He will have you if he wants you. And he will be very intentional about that process of getting you. If he identifies you as someone that he wants, which means you don't have to do anything. You just sit back, relax, you continue observing, asking him questions, getting him to talk about himself so you can continue learning more about him and how he thinks and what he feels, right? And you don't have to do anything. He will do all the work for you and be the man for you and pursue you because he wants you. Men that are this intentional in their life will be very intentional in their relationships. That's just how you do life, it's how you're going to do your relationships. So you don't have to do anything. And then when he asks you to join him on his marathons and his workouts, you join him. It'll make you incorporate it into his everyday life. Okay? That is my advice to you, XX. All right. So that's the show for today. I hope if you didn't get your question answered, don't worry. I'll answer your question in a future show. We have lots of time to spend together where we'll answer all of your amazing questions in the Discord. If you want to submit your question to the Discord and have me answer it live on the show, please feel free to, if you're on TikTok, go on my link in my bio, in my main bio, and you can just go on the TikTok link, open it in browser, and you'll be able to answer your question in the relationship advice section. If you're on YouTube, just go down in the link in the description box, and at the bottom, you'll see the link to my Discord where you can ask your question in the relationship advice section as well. For those of you that want to follow me on Instagram and see everything that I'm doing all the time, all day, and just get to know more about me and my experiences in life, you can go follow me on Instagram. It's right at the top of your screen on the left side if you're on Instagram. If you're on TikTok, and at the bottom right if you're on YouTube, okay? For those of you who love the show so much, maybe it's your first time here, you're like, oh my God, this show's so amazing. I can't believe this even exists, and you're on TikTok and you want to know where you can find the whole show, the whole segment, see more of this. You go on my YouTube, which is right on the right side of the screen on the top there, where you can see my name. Just type my name into YouTube, or you can just copy and paste that, screenshot it and paste that, and you'll be able to find my YouTube channel where you'll be able to see all of my previous live streams in the live section with the TikTok and the YouTube chat embedded in the show, so that you'll be able to follow along with all the amazing conversation that's going on as I'm discussing and as we're all discussing. Okay, it's a very awesome experience. All right, so if you're ever wondering when I go live, it's 4 p.m. Eastern time all throughout the weekday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, whatever time that is in your time zone. You got to calculate that with Google and figure out what time that is in your time zone. All right. I will be back again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern on Thursday, and we will have another great conversation about love, life, and relationships. That'll be so amazing, so awesome, and we'll connect some more then and there. Until then, arrivederci, au revoir, goodbye, hasta la vista. I will see you later, and I love you so much. It won't be long.